Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the 25-minute keynote speech on how LoRaWAN is leading the way in UK utilities. I'm going to tell you a story of conception to completion with a water utility in the UK that we've been working with. But I need you to do me a favor. I'll do you a favor and I'll make this water metering discussion as interesting as possible. You need to do me a favor and not fall asleep. So if you're happy with that, I'll carry on. So just a quick overview of who we are at Connexin. I'm the Vice President of the IoT business unit within Connexin. We're based in Hull in England, in the UK, and we were founded in 2006 by two gentlemen who are still co-founders, CEOs to today. They founded the company as a VoIP. They needed to phone their families abroad during their university days with no money. So they designed a VoIP system, and that was Connexin. Moving forward, accelerate to 2018, the IoT team was born through a Series A investment from Cisco, and then to today, the rest is history. What we do in the IoT team, we're a smart end-to-end provider. So we offer network infrastructure in LoRaWAN, sensors, so third-party sensors, there's plenty of our distributors out there today. We offer our own Connexin OS platform, creating insights into that data and an outcome approach. The main problem sometimes we encounter with any customers in all our sales verticals, be it smart cities, buildings, health, or utilities, and in this case water within the utility market, is a hardware-driven approach. We need to approach the market from a solution-led approach. I'll give you an example. I had a customer come to me a few weeks ago asking about air quality sensors. We can sell them an air quality sensor. It's not a problem at all, but why do you want an air quality sensor? Oh, well, other areas in the UK are doing ULEZ, ultra-low emission zones. Okay, why do you want ultra-low emission zone? Not sure. Somebody else is doing it next to me. Okay, so if you frame it from an outcome-driven approach, you're looking at, well, actually, you can find out the areas of high intense emissions, focus on the buildings in that city that are creating these high emissions and bring that down. That's the outcome-driven approach we're all looking for. And that's what we do at Connexin. And we're on a mission to connect the real world to the digital world to improve the way we live. And that example proves just that. So, within the water metering example I'm going to talk about today, here's the challenge. The who. So a large-scale water utility. Work in silos, don't really talk. The leakage team doesn't talk to the metering team, doesn't talk to the sewerage side. It's very, very siloed operation, so that's one challenge. Water meters is another challenge, and we'll talk about how that's installed and how that makes it difficult in a second. And currently, this water utility are reading biannually. So they are reading these water meters on a manual basis. I was going to say biannual, manual, but I found that quite tricky. So twice yearly, they're reading these water meters manually. Some automated through drive-by, walk-by, but they're getting 2 reads per year. By moving to LoRaWAN and an AMI, so always on, data always flowing, it's mind-blowing for them. So that's a challenge. The target was 157,000 water meters as this 3-year contract provided. But they wanted a 15-year battery life on a water meter that's no bigger than your fist. Hourly data, so currently having 2 reads a year, they're going to go up to 8,760 reads per meter per year. Multiply that by 157,000 meters, you've got an awful lot of data incoming. They panic. What are they going to do with it? And the installs. I don't know if you know much about the water utilities in the UK, but they decided to put water meters below the ground averaging 0.75 meters, screw it in, put the tap on, let the water flow, let it fill up with water, and put a metal lid on and walk away. And think you can get connectivity through that way. I think it's always been that way that they install below ground, and I think it always will be that way. Even new build properties now are still being installed in boundary boxes. It's crazy. It's a challenge. So the 157,000 water meters are going to be installed between now, 6 months prior to now really, to give you the example of what we're talking about today, to 2025. There's a strategic rollout of 157,000 in total. From 2025 onwards to 2035, they're looking at installing 3 million water meters. Every single one of them will be LoRaWAN enabled, connected through our network infrastructure. Massive numbers. So the eagle-eyed amongst you might know who this water utility is from the location in Coventry and Warwickshire, which is in the heart of England. But why? Why do they want this regular data? Why do they want to connect water meters? Why do they want to connect water meters over LoRaWAN? First of all, the water is quite scarce in the UK, and you always think it's going to rain, therefore you're going to get enough water. But actually, if you look from a top to bottom approach of a UK, from Scotland down to the south coast, the further south you go, the more water scarce the area becomes. Hosepipe bans all over the country in the last 2-3 months, and yet we still don't have compulsory metering. There are still households that have estimated bills with no meter attached to the property. But the water utility wants to reduce the carbon footprint too, from, for example, pumping the water. Do you need to pump that much water up that hill? You're burning through electricity. It's a huge amount of carbon footprint that could be reduced. So that's one of the other challenges they want to overcome. To do this, the government provided a lump sum of money to various water utilities in the UK under the Green Recovery Fund. And that's propelled this connectivity solution to be done today rather than pushing it to, say, 2025 onwards. As you might find, the UK water utilities are not too innovative and quite conservative. So this is a big, big challenge. The Ofwat regulations, so Ofwat are the overseeing body that regulate the water utilities. 2 simple targets. There's plenty of targets, but 2 simple targets for the context of this conversation is 15% leakage reduction across the whole network, and a PCC reduction too. PCC is per capita consumption, measured per person per property per day. It's around 140 litres per person per day at the minute. The target by 2035 needs to be below 100, otherwise they're going to have a 400 megalitre per day deficit. And we talk about this as if it's fine, it's okay, somebody will come up with some innovation to sort it, but actually, that means you're going to have a whole day or 2 per year of no water at all. I'll let that one sink in. So how did we do it? We connected the water meters via LoRaWAN, and we have rolled out the most dense LoRaWAN network infrastructure in the UK. It'd probably be globally, because I don't know any other areas of the world that have below-ground metering and look at connecting it over LoRaWAN. So it's an extremely dense network. And not only that, the water utility decided to put in some SLAs, which was extremely kind of them. 95% coverage. So we're talking urban, semi-urban, and rural. 95% data connectivity. This network has to be extremely resilient to create the connectivity in case you drop packets of data. It needs to be able to have a number of retransmissions, the spread factor built into it, all targeting that 15-year battery life. 99% network uptime, we talk resilience, and a very high percentage of meter penetration. Currently, this water utility has 63% meter penetration, and only 2% is LoRaWAN enabled. So the partner is Severn Trent Water, the second largest water utility in the UK at present. The map of the UK shows Severn Trent Water is positioned very nicely in the Midlands, smack bang in the middle of England itself. There's up to 4.6 million households and businesses in Severn Trent Water. We've only going to network 157,000 of them. So the scale pushing into 2025 is up to 3 million and onwards. It's huge. They produce 2 billion litres of water, of drinking potable water per day. So to put that into context, that is around 45,000 swimming pools of drinking water per day produced by this water utility alone. There are 19 in the UK. This is huge. I think Ralph, my colleague at Connexin, in the opening keynote this morning, suggested how much is actually being lost of that, and it's a horrendous number. 3.2 billion litres of sewage. Now, don't think about 60-odd thousand swimming pools full of poo. We won't talk about that. The water meter manufacturer uses Itron. Itron, a American-owned French company, and their range of water meters you can see behind me. The reason we use Itron, there are an awful lot of USPs that Itron bring to the market. The picture you can see is the inline version. Obviously, we use a concentric, so it goes in a boundary box below the ground, as we talked about. But their range goes up to DN300, so we can cover all household and non-household opportunities in the utility. And Temetra. Temetra are formed as part of the Itron partnership as the data management system that aggregates all the meter data that we bring in. So the what? The end-to-end LoRaWAN connectivity. So we talked about Itron as the meters, devices. This is the Aquadis Plus R500, and the Cyber 5 module is the smart point sat on top of the meter, prepared, sending the LoRaWAN signal out. Then you've got the next layer, which is the Connexin network infrastructure. So we build out the LoRaWAN infrastructure across the areas required for connectivity. And then we've got the connectivity through the local network server with TTI. We then got the integration of that data straight into the MDMS, the Meter Data Management System OS platform, which aggregates that data, produces a platform dashboard, and allows actionable insights created off the back of that. So that's the what. That's what we did, the end-to-end solution. And the whole of that end-to-end is underpinned by a 128-bit AES encryption. So now the why. Why LoRaWAN? Why Connexin? We had some stiff competition from NB-IoT providers such as Vodafone, BT, proprietary solutions such as Suez, Arqiva, Sigfox were involved, and other LoRaWAN network providers too. So why us? There's 3 pillars to a win in a contract award of this size. You've got to have accurate data. It's got to be good in to be good out. So accurate data comes from the USP that Itron offer, which is the largest range of capture of a water meter in the market of that size at the minute. So we're able to capture that small flow down to about 0.5 litres per hour, which is less than a dripping tap. So you can imagine the revenue gains from producing that range of flow. You need reliability. That's where we come in. We can build a great network, a really resilient network with lots of redundancy to create that reliability and meet those SLAs. And it's got to be cost effective. We all know LoRaWAN is very cost effective. Sending that data over the air, small packets, it doesn't cost too much. That's how we won this. But Connexin are device agnostic, so we don't have to go with Itron. We've got plenty of other opportunities out there too, but that appeals to the customer. The vast ecosystem within the LoRaWAN partnerships and the distributors out there in the hall mean that we can upsell opportunities onto this network. It's not just a water meter network. It's a network for water meters. It's optimized technology. LoRaWAN is perfect for getting signal out of a pit in comparison to the other network providers out there, such as NB-IoT. It's scalable. We all know how to scale the networks. Once you've done it once, you can push it across the whole area. It's agile. We can accelerate installs. We can reduce installs. We can optimize installs. We can make this perfect so there's no black spots and the resilience and redundancy is there. And we can network anywhere. And we can increase the densification if needed. And we've got the best of IoT battery life. So the table you see behind me is number of retransmissions, so number of times that data packets get sent and resent from the meter itself, and they're down on the spread factor. You can see we've blocked out anything below SF9. We don't network below SF9. You're not going to get the resilience of this network to meet a 15-year battery life as the criteria if you roll out a network on SF12. It's too thin. The customer also looks at TOTEX, so total expenditure. The commercials are really important, hence why the 15-year battery life is so critical. Water utilities in the UK work on AMP cycles. It's 5-year batches. So they're now TOTEX evaluations on 15 years. If your battery dies between years 10 and 15, not only is the warranty going to be invalid from the Itron solution itself, you're also going to have to incorporate a replacement meter, the cost to go out from an ops perspective, and the problems you can get with a customer if the water gets turned off. So getting that 15-year battery life is absolutely critical. We don't view this as a 1, 2, 3-year term. This is a 15, this is a 30, this is a 50-year contract with this customer. Severn Trent Water now work with us to develop additional sensors on the network, the existing infrastructure, that will benefit from aggregating the data and cross-examining. And of course, the industry expertise we've got. We've got a great team in Connexin. We've got some great product managers. We've got some great technical team that are driving this forward from our expertise. And with the support of TTI, we're moving forward. So the how. How did we build this network? Most importantly, get the planning right at the start. Get the permits. Where are you going to install these gateways and why? Procure the hardware, but procure the right hardware. Procure best-of-breed hardware to make everything work to the best of its ability. Take the gateways, build, test, configure, optimize. Put an LTE booster on there if you need to. Install those gateways. Connexin have got an installation team. We also work with third parties to rapidly deploy in accordance with the meter rollout plans. Then you go and commission the network. Make sure everything works, make sure there's no black spots, and then you get your data flow. Then it's business as usual, but there's always an optimization piece ongoing in the background. So, the how. Sophisticated network optimization tools. You need the right kit, you need the right software, front end, to ensure that you are creating redundancy, tuning those parameters based on previous deployments, experience, understanding the dBm loss in the pit, the signal to noise ratio. You need to understand all of this in order to make those parameters spot on and make sure you're building that network up. But get that redundancy in front end, because if you don't, to retrofit is an awfully long process, and you need the customer to get that data. The SLAs are the most important driver. The customer doesn't really care how you get that data. The mechanism of getting that data is completely irrelevant to them. You've got to meet those SLAs. But we install predominantly on street lights. Street furniture is ideal. It's got power input. It's got the height, some up to 12 meters in height, and it's co-located near to the residential areas where meters are. So it's a perfect way of installing, and installing quickly. We need to get those wayleaves, those permits in place in order to do that. We install on council buildings. We install on private enterprise buildings. We install on cell towers. We install on customers' properties to make sure that network is covered. We talked about optimization. A key part of the ongoing optimization I talked about just now is ADR, so it's advanced data rate algorithm, that's built in back end to ensure that that network is constantly fluid and constantly moving and optimized to the variables in the market, such as the variables in the area, such as weather, such as foliage. It all affects it. You need something there that can tweak the SF, the spread factor, for example. So if the packet success rate drops from pretty much half, so it goes from 98% success rate down to 50 because there's a gateway that breaks down, or there's some other issue that happens, or even if a car parks over a meter that cannot then transmit properly. The ADR algorithm will increase the spread factor by making it connect to a different gateway and then restore that packet success rate back to 95%, which in turn gives that data to the customer. Let's say there's a meter connecting at 99% packet success rate on SF10, NB trans 4. That's going to burn the battery quite quickly. We talked about that in the previous slide, but I blocked out the table. You can't go below SF9. So the ADR algorithm will automatically reduce the SF and NB trans, so push that to an SF7, 8, or 9 to maintain that battery life of 15 years. So what does it look like? So this is an image I'm about to put up of Coventry. It shows all the meter nodes installed, obviously not in too much detail because there's a GDPR element to this, and all the gateways that we put up so far. We're getting 95% connectivity on every single one of those gateways we've installed. We're creating more redundancy by adding gateways, and we're also optimizing by moving gateways around. It's an awful lot. That's only 32,000 in total. As it spreads up towards the north across, you'll be up to 157,000. So we're looking at rolling out about 4 times as much over the next 3 to 6 months. So what does that look like from an outcome-driven or a dashboard approach? Here you'll see the Temetra dashboard. This is what we use to visualize the data. This is where all the data ends up. Now you can interact with this. You can find out which meters are connecting, which meters aren't connecting. You can also look at the graphs on the left-hand side there showing the consumption per hour. It's an hourly data rate. But we've also built our NOC platform, our Network Operations Center platform. And that allows us in-house to get alerts, notifications of any gateway outage, any issues with the network, any optimization, and any repairs and maintenance that we need to do to make that SLA, that 95% data. So far, so good. Severn Trent Water are very happy with us. It's worked really well. We've managed to make it a success, and we're winning more and more and more contracts because of this solution. This is the very first large-scale IoT water utility deployment, and it's created a ripple effect across all the water utilities in the UK. Everybody's taking note. Contracts are coming out. We're winning more and more based on this solution. But the beneficiary in this case is Severn Trent Water. They were able to improve their operational visibility and efficiency. The way I see it is, prior to all these meters being installed and the connectivity, it's like driving a car with no speedo. How do you know what speed you're doing? You don't. How do they know where their leaks were? They didn't until they put a water meter in and saw the flow patterns. They can now make valuable, actionable insights into the data, understand where they need to target leakage or where they need to look at replacing older meters and where there's gaps, where the water balance isn't right. They can then respond intelligently to any incidents, proactively and reactively now. Overall, reducing non-revenue water. Now, it says real and apparent losses. The apparent losses are being reduced because every household is having a water meter, so they know what they're consuming. They water balance, so they know where the losses are. So the reduction of non-revenue water is great for the water utility because it means they make more money, so the business case stacks up. If you can capture more flow, accurately, reliably, and cost-effectively, you can bring more revenue into the company itself. It improves their asset management. Now they know where the meters are. They know how old the meters are. They've got a lot more data coming in from those meters. They've got consumption, various alarms, including battery life. So they've got a lot more visibility of the assets themselves and understand where they are, and what they can do about it. We talked about carbon footprint. It improves sustainability and water conservation. If you know where you're getting leaks, you can fix leaks. You can conserve water. You can reduce your carbon footprint. We talked about the regulatory mandates. So Ofwat's regulation of reducing the leakage across the whole of Severn Trent Water by 15%. These guys were on the phone to me last week. They found about 3,000 leaks out of those 32,000 meters already. That's a headache for their ops team. But once you know that there's a leak, then they can fix that leak. Then they can conserve the water and hit the Ofwat target. By having a meter in every property, you also know your PCC, your per capita consumption. I talked earlier about 140 litres per person on average in the UK. I think Severn Trent Water around 115 in Coventry now as a result of this. Once you know your consumption, it's human nature to try and reduce that consumption because you're being accurately billed. So reduce your billing, reduce your outgoings as a consumer. It's working for both parties. Another measure from the regulatory body is a CMEX score. So CMEX being customer engagement. Instead of waiting for a customer to phone them up in a massive call center, paying for lots of people sitting there waiting, or proactively calling the customer to advise them of a leak, they'll know this already through the data they're getting through the meters. So the customer engagement is outbound now, not inbound. A level 1 escalation costs Severn Trent Water around £100. Just level 1, just somebody phoning up saying, I think I've got a leak. Level 3 costs £300, plus the ops costs, plus the escalation, plus the customer visit. They had a call, and I've stolen this off them, but I'll tell you anyway. An old lady phoned up, and she suggested that she had a leak, or it was suggested to her due to her high consumption. They went to site, they looked in the toilet, the back of the toilet was just flushing continuously. She thought it was a feature. So, we've got a very dense network. We're connecting 32,000 water meters, moving up to 157 in the next 3 to 6 months. The network coverage above ground is phenomenal in that city. So what's next? I'll leave that with you. We've got plenty of the Connexin team in and around the area. Come and talk to us. What can we do? What can we build? What can we connect to that existing network infrastructure? Come and talk to us. Thank you.